And good evening, everyone, and welcome in to the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm Russ Renault. I want to thank you for joining us here again on another Sunday night in the Houston area. Love seeing everybody in another week where we're going to be opening up some 2023 UFC Panini Prizm, and we've got that coming up on deck, and we've got a big show with a recap from Fight Night back in action. UFC took a week off, a rare week off, but back in action last night at the Apex, and we got to see Kai Kara-France against Amir Albazi, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But just for those who are joining us for the first time, I just want to welcome you in and let you know what we're all about. So this is your family-friendly UFC podcast. What we do on here is we talk about trading cards, the latest ones, the ones that are coming out, and we open a hobby box every single week right here on YouTube, live at 9 p.m. Central, right here. So if you subscribe, you'll be entered into our card giveaways. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And once we reach a certain level of subscribers, we'll start doing that. We've got 7 fighter lots we're giving away, and we can't wait to do that. But with that, we need your help, and we need to get the word out about the show so we can start giving away some cards. And so this is I believe this is the 18th episode, and this is our 6th rip of 2023 Prizm, so we're halfway through the case that we have, and we got a big show next week, and we'll talk about what we're doing as the show goes along. And so first things first, let's talk about what happened at the Apex in Las Vegas last night with Fight Night between the number 7 ranked flyweight and the number 3 ranked flyweight, Kai Kara-France. He at one time challenged for the interim title against Brandon Moreno, came up short, took that kidney kick against the now champion Moreno. Now with 2 straight losses, with Amir Albazi coming away with a split decision. Kind of controversial decision, but, splitting hairs in a lot of rounds. I think the one thing that is critical is one judge had Albazi winning the 4th round, which looked pretty clear that Kai Kara-France won the 4th round, should have won it on all 3 scorecards, and that proved to be the difference in the fight. So Kai Kara-France would have come away with that decision instead. So a little controversy there. Kai Kara-France didn't like it, but a really close, razor-thin fight, and Albazi able to come away with a close victory. So he will be moving up in those rankings, and we'll see what happens in the flyweight division going forward. And we'll talk about what's going on with the rest of the fight cards coming up here in the near future. That's one of the other things we do on the show. We'll go through not only the action that took place the night before, but we'll talk about some of the fights that have been added over the last week, and we'll talk about the main events of all the upcoming events, whether they've been announced previously or not. So we talked about Albazi and Kai Kara-France, and I don't like to get into a lot of fight breakdown because that's just not my forte. A lot of good shows do that, but we're here to just kind of go over the fights and how it pertains to the hobby, and if anything rose somebody's stock, so to say, that we can talk about it in that context, and that's the context I like to talk about the fights in. So we won't hit on every single fight, we won't break down fights, because we're just talking about how that relates to the other things that we're doing here. And as I said, we're the family-friendly show. We want your kids, if they're getting into collecting, whether it be UFC cards or whatever other cards, a lot of the same type of things go across the board in all sports. And we want to be a place where people can gain knowledge and have questions. And if you want a question about grading, about how to collect, what to collect, who to collect, then just drop a question in the chat. We'll talk about it. And that's what we want to be here for. We just want to build a community and be a resource for people who are just getting into it for the first time, people who've been out of it for a little while, that you have a place to come. And, there are no stupid questions. The old cliche, I will answer whatever you have, and I don't mind doing it. So don't be afraid to ask a question here. Just come in and let me know what you want to talk about. Also, you can see in the chat, let me know your first name, where you're watching, and who you collect if you want to drop that in the chat. Always love hearing who everybody's PCing, and as we go along, I like to look for those things. Look for cards for the people who listen to the show regularly, watch and listen, because we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, so people can listen if you're on the way to work, or you have time to listen and you hear something, you hear a card that I open and you want to go back and look at it, you can do that. You can come back and go on YouTube and see exactly what that card looks like, so you don't have to watch everything. So that there's a lot of options here, and we're just trying to grow this show a lot more as we go along. And along with that, there are going to be some changes here, and we're trying to add some elements every week, and we are trying to line up some guests for the future. And I've got to switch over to another software to be able to do that, and we're looking at doing that pretty soon. So I want to get that software, make sure that I know how to use it, because if you didn't know, I run everything from here, and so I have my hands full hosting the show, opening cards, producing the show. It's a lot, but it's manageable right now. And so with another program, maybe even more manageable, so I can bring some guests on, have them call in, and make this an even better show, an even bigger show. So got some, I think, some special people that can come on. Don't want to give away too much right now, but just know that it's coming, and that this is going to grow, and it's going to be as good as it can be very soon. So just the other thing is that we've been selling some cards lately. That has been going really well, and this show does not happen without you. A lot of people who watch the show ask me about a card. I hear from other people who are looking for certain things, and so that's the way the show is going to keep going. The more cards that we sell, the longer the show's going to be on, and that I'm going to be able to continue to bring you this kind of content where it's not a break. You can come in here, and I don't want to bang on breakers, but I want people to be able to come in here and see a card and have a chance to buy that card. So because you get into a break, it's very expensive for the best fighters, and you don't always have a chance to get the fighter you want. And so I want people to come in here and be able to get somebody who's a little more popular. And we'll go through our hobby top 5 here. That's a little segment that we do, and that's the top 5 fighters in the hobby right now. Not necessarily the top 5 pound for pound fighters, but who people are collecting the most right now, who's demanding the most in breaks, and who people often are asking about and looking for as they collect cards. So that's coming up here in a little bit. But we were talking about Fight Night last night from the Apex, and we had the co-main event with Alex Caceres, the number 15 ranked featherweight, against Daniel Pineda, and Caceres getting a unanimous decision, and it was a pretty good fight. And they kind of went at it a little bit, but Pineda kind of gassed out at certain points during the fight, but Caceres unable to put him away. So it was a really good fight, but Caceres going to be moving up those ranks here shortly in the featherweight division. I think probably the biggest showstopper last night was Jim Miller defeating Jesse Butler, as Jim Miller continues to add to his all-time wins mark. He's been in the UFC a very long time, and knocking out Jesse Butler in 22 seconds, just with that left hand, just crushed him twice, got him once, and that was good enough to put him out, but just on the way down, landing another one, and really put the lights out on Jesse Butler. So Jim Miller looking forward to big things. He wants to compete at UFC 300, which we're at next week is... What is next week? Next week is 289. So he wants to make it to 300 and be the only fighter that's fought at UFC 100, UFC 200, and UFC 300. I think it'd be pretty cool. And it looks like he is going to be able to do that. Looking, 10 months down the road, that's what we're looking at for UFC 300, something like that, 9-10 months. Jim Miller should definitely be able to do that. The way he's looking right now looks tremendous, and really got it done last night. Another one, and another ranked fighter last night, Tim Elliott defeated Victor Altamirano, unanimous decision. So he looked good doing that. He wasn't that pleased with his performance. He thought he could do better. Said he's feeling had a little stomach illness, but he's able to get another win. So Tim Elliott looked good doing it. Then looking down the card, Dontel Mays getting a knockout over Andrei Arlovsky in the second round. And John Castaneda, a rookie, we actually pulled a green signature auto out of a retail pack last week. And so that's why I was interested in that fight. Defeating Green Gafarov, unanimous decision for Castaneda. And thanks to the person who bought that card. So that one's in the mail, and that was sold this week. And so somebody's going to be very happy with that win for Castaneda last night. So we do look at our previous pulls, and I'll go through those before we open this week's boxes. But you can see this week that we have another retail box of Prizm, another blaster, and we've got our hobby box, of course. We always open a hobby, and we'll be talking about what we're going to be doing next week. It's going to be a really great show, I hope. So you want to stay tuned for that. Just running down what the rest of the schedule looks like. I'm just going to hit the highlights here. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about every single fight. We're just kind of going to hit the main events, and if it's a good co-main, I'll talk about that too. But we got UFC 289 next week in Vancouver, and we got the women's bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes taking on the fifth-ranked contender Irene Aldana, and looks to be a good matchup there, power against power, and looking forward to watching that one. And the co-main event, yeah, I think everybody had their eyes glued to that one, the lightweight division. Former champion, number one contender Charles Oliveira taking on the fourth-ranked contender Beneil Dariush. You would think that the winner would get a title shot against Islam Makhachev coming out of that fight. So that's a great card next week. Won't go down the rest of it, but it is a good card, so you can go check that out online. We've got Fight Night coming up June 17th at the Apex in Las Vegas. And we've got the number 3 ranked middleweight Marvin Vettori taking on the number 4 ranked middleweight Jared Cannonier. Also co-main event Armin Tsarukyan taking on Joaquin Silva. And Fight Night June 24th in Jacksonville. Featherweight matchup between number 5 Josh Emmett, number 9 Ilya Topuria. Also got a top 15 matchup in the women's strawweight division with Macy Barber, number 11 taking on number 9 Amanda Hebus. So then we look at Fight Night on July 1st. Sean Strickland, number 7 ranked middleweight against Abbas Magomedov, and that card is starting to come together a little bit. We've added a few fights to that this week. And then we get to UFC 290 and July 8th for International Fight Week in Vegas. We got the featherweight championship on the line with the champion Alexander Volkanovski taking on the interim champion Yair Rodriguez. Also in the flyweight division, Brandon Moreno facing Alexander Pantoja, number 2 ranked flyweight, and who has a win over Moreno. And this is a great card. Middleweight matchup between number 2 Robert Whitaker, number 6 Dricus du Plessis, and a lightweight matchup number 10 Jalen Turner and number 11 Dan Hooker. And also on that main card, middleweight matchup between Bo Nickel and Tresean Gore. And that's just the main card. There's also some great fights on the prelim. Robbie Lawler and Nico Price, Sean Brady and Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, the rematch between Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Minifield, I mean, that one's just stacked. International Fight Week's going to be great. So if you can make it there, then I'm jealous. So then we go to Fight Night July 15th at the Apex. Number 3 ranked women's bantamweight, the former champion Holly Holm, taking on number 10 ranked Mayra Buena Silva. And then we get to Fight Night July 22nd in London. And Tom Aspinall headlining that one, number 5 ranked heavyweight against number 10 ranked heavyweight Marcin Tybura. Molly McCann's on that card. Paul Craig also added to that card this week. He'll be facing Andre Muniz. Paul Craig ranked number 9 in the middleweight division. Muniz ranked number 15. Also a top 10 women's bantamweight matchup, Ketlin Vieira, Penny Kianzad. So it's a pretty good Fight Night card for London. UFC 291, July 28th, Salt Lake City. BMF title on the line, lightweight matchup, number 2 Dustin Poirier against number 3 Justin Gaethje, rematch with Poirier coming out on top in that first matchup. The co-main event, great one as well, light heavyweight matchup between number 3 Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira, making his light heavyweight debut. Also got Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, Paulo Costa against Ikram Aleskarov. Got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson against Michelle Pereira, and Derek Lewis against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So that's a good card as well. UFC 291. Then Fight Night August 12th in Vegas. This one just announced the Apex number 9 Rafael dos Anjos against number 10 Vicente Luque welterweight matchup. Nothing else been added to that card just yet. Then we move into UFC 292, August 19th in Boston. Bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling defending against the number 2 ranked contender Sean O'Malley. We also got the women's strawweight title on the line with Zhang Wei Li defending against number 4 Amanda Lemos. And we know the schedule, don't know exact locations. Location hasn't been announced for UFC 293 yet, but we know it's September 9th, and big rumor, unkept secret, it's going to be in Sydney. And then UFC 294, October 22nd, we know that's in Abu Dhabi, and probably looking at Islam Makhachev fight for the main event there. Just don't have an opponent yet, but you would think it'd be the winner between Oliveira and Dariush next week, or this coming week. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to all the fights that we have coming up on the UFC schedule. All right, so let's get to the hobby top 5 first before we talk about what we're going to be doing next week. So let's introduce that. And here we go. So the UFC Fight Cards Hobby Top 5. And at number 5 again this week, just talked about him. And it's going to be making his light heavyweight debut, Alex Pereira, the former middleweight champion, a rookie in the product. Number 4, the only female on the Hobby Top 5 so far, Erin Blanchfield. Looking for something good from Erin Blanchfield out of this box of Prizm tonight. Number 3, not a rookie. One of 2 non-rookies in here is Khamzat Chimaev. Very popular name in the hobby. And number 2 is Shavkat Rakhmonov. He was a rookie last year. His card's still doing pretty well. And number 1 for the 5th straight week is Bo Nickel. So Bo Nickel, the hottest rookie in the 2023 product, and so everybody kind of looking forward to him. So there you see that Hobby Top 5, and we will do that again next week. Maybe something will change one of these. Maybe something will happen to make that change here in the near future. That'd be awesome if we could change that up a little bit from week to week. But just, none of these results have really done anything to warrant changing that just yet. So let's talk about what's coming up here on the show as far as cards go. So we're halfway through this case of 2023 Prizm. And what we're going to do is we're expecting the release of Donruss this week. And so I have a case of that on the way. There are 10 boxes. There are 10 hobby boxes in a case of Donruss. So 2 fewer than a case of Prizm. But what we're going to do next week, since it's a new product, we're going to open a box of Donruss, and we're going to open a box of Prizm next week here on the show. So we're doing a double feature, double live rip next week here on the show. You don't want to miss the first edition of Donruss, and also, you can never get tired of opening boxes of Prizm because it's always the most popular products, like the Daytona 500 of products. So the first one comes out at the beginning of the year, and that's always the biggest one. So we should be getting our Donruss in on Thursday. We hope. Usually I get it on release day, and so I'll have it in my hand on Thursday for Sunday's show, and so that'd be pretty exciting. The one thing I do want to touch on, and I want to talk about because it happened, I think, right after we got off the show that I heard about it last week was the Panini offices were broken into last week in Irving, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I don't know what that's going to do with their operations. It doesn't look like it's going to slow anything down because it did put the countdown on for Donruss. I did see that looking on the site the other day that they put that countdown clock on, and they usually don't do that until they know that they're going to release the product. So it looks like that product's ready to go, and we should have it in our hands this week, and that'll be great for the show because that'll be a really big show. It'll be a long show. You may have to get used to me changing batteries for the first time on a camera. So we'll see how long they last next week as we go through 2 hobby boxes. We'll take those other. Let's see, that'll be our 7th box. So we'll have 4 boxes of Prizm left after next week. Is that right? No, we'll have 5 left after next week, and so we'll put those aside. We'll go through the Donruss, and then we'll see what the next product coming out is. And we'll just kind of save up our products as we go on throughout the year. Maybe we'll do a big end of the year live rip of everything that we have left. And so we'll see how that shakes out. And, just some of the fun things that we can look forward to here on the show. So we're going to go ahead and open up our box of Prizm. First, I want to talk about these business cards I have, and they have a QR code that goes directly to the show, and you don't even have to give one to anybody. You can just have them scan it on their phone. They can scan that QR code, and they can go directly to the show, subscribe to the show, be automatically entered into our card giveaways. So just an easy way to get people on board. And if you want some of these, just let me know. Drop me a line. You can get in touch with me a ton of different ways. My email address, russ@orange-fire.com. You can find me on Twitter @FightCardsRuss or @OrangeFireMedia. Also on Facebook, Russ Renault. That's RENEAU and Orangefire Media. So you can find me just about anywhere. And if you want one of these, then I'll send one to you. I'll send a couple to you. And let me know who you collect too. I may have a card or 2 laying around that I can send along with it. And if you want to be a friend of the show, this is probably the best way to do it. So if you watch fights at like Buffalo Wild Wings or Twin Peaks or somewhere like that you can kind of go around it and let people know what we're doing and get people on board and get people watching the show. So the more, the merrier. The more products we can move, the more products we can buy, and the more products we can open. So just to throw that out there. If anybody interested in being a friend of the show. So enough about that. So let's get into opening this box of this blaster. Get these gloves on first. I want to protect all the cards that we open. So we were pleasantly surprised last week. We pulled that John Castaneda green auto. Like I said, somebody snatched that one up pretty quick. That one is already out the door. These are all listed. A lot of the cards are listed on eBay. Some of them are not. I don't list everything on there at one time. Some stuff doesn't make it on there at all. But I do have a store on eBay. It's called Orange Fire Lots of Lots. And I used to put together fighter lots. Some of those have dwindled down in number. And so I got rid of a lot of those lots. And now I'm mostly dealing with the stuff that we're pulling out of Prizm. But I do have a few left. Still have some 2022 product. And one day maybe we'll go through what I have left. But really been able to move some of that lately. And I really appreciate everybody who's stepped up to contribute. And like I said, it's not so much about making the money as it is about making the show better, because everything that I sell this year is going to go back into buying cards for the show and growing this as big as we can get it. So really appreciate everybody who's dropped by, bought cards on eBay, bought cards, just deals that we've made through Facebook or wherever else. Really appreciate that. So enough about that. You came here to watch me open cards. But I can never be too appreciative. So kind of have to listen to me sometimes. So yeah, I hadn't had a whole lot of luck with blasters in 2022. I didn't buy a whole lot. It was just something else to pass the time between hobby boxes. And, I think I pulled a Charles Oliveira of 49, which is nothing to sneeze at. It's a great card. Don't get me wrong, but out of all the blasters I opened last year, I think that was the only numbered card that I hit. But, not that the John Castaneda was a huge card, but I think that's about the best you can expect out of a blaster. Unless you're just buying like 20 at a time, which I'd rather just buy a hobby if I'm going to do that. But that's just me. So here we go. Sean Brady, Andre Petrosky, Tisha Torres, and the Jan Blachowicz parallel, the green. So that's the green parallel. And, I will start building up those fighter lots. If the cards don't move and I, get a whole bunch of one fighter, I will put those together. So we're working on a Matt Hughes autograph lot right now. Pulled a couple of Matt Hughes autos. Got a couple of Matt Browns. So we have kind of hit the legends as we've opened these boxes so far this year. So Michelle Watterson, Max Holloway, nice, Chris Curtis, Cracked Ice, and Chuck Liddell Hall monitors. So, I just sold the Chris Curtis. We had a little Chris Curtis lot working. Had the base auto, and we had a blue number to 175. So might reach out to that buyer, see if they want that. May send that to them. We did go back through all the hits at the end of the show. And I actually didn't get to, I didn't go through our hits from the previous boxes. So I'll do that in between. Karine Silva, Dominic Reyes, Brock Lesnar, and Davison Figueiredo, the green parallel. All right, here we go. Israel Adesanya, Nasruddin Mamavov, got a Yair Rozenstruik, Cracked Ice, and Leon Edwards Dominance. Got a Yair Rozenstruik red. And I can put that one with that. We go Anthony Smith, La Tangeli, Justin Gaethje, and Merab Dvalishvili silver. Like I said, everything on the show is for sale, for the most part. I do collect Tom Aspinall, but I can be persuaded. There we go, Yuri Prochazka, another Aaron Blanchfield rookie. Got a Calvin Cater Cracked Ice and Juliana Pena All Out. So that's about what we expect out of a blaster. But I don't mind getting extra Aaron Blanchfields, number 4 on our hobby top 5. One of the better rookies in this product. I've got a rank number 2 behind Bo Nickel, so never know. Alright, so let's go through the hits from our previous boxes. So we did have, this is what we started off with. Start off with BJ Penn Redemption, the champion signatures. So I do have that already sent off, so waiting on that to get that back. There we go, there's that second Matt. We have a Matt Brown Silver. I also have a Matt Brown from Immaculate, so I'm going to put that with that, put those together. Hopefully somebody who collects Matt Brown will want those. Tank Abbott Silver. Like I said, we got a lot of legends here. Matt Hughes Auto. And I just kind of put those together, so that's not one of the hits. But here's what we're chasing here. This is our lowest numbered card so far. We've got a Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm, number 2 of 8. So, Damon Jackson fans, there's one of your rainbows. We hit this one last week, one of our biggest ones so far. Islam Makhachev Teal, numbered to 49, number 3 of 49 actually. Some of these I held. I haven't listed this yet just because I like Baby Shark, so hold on to this orange. It's numbered to 99, so got that one. Hit that one. I think the first box that we opened was Tabitha Ricci. Pulled the ruby red wave last week to go along with it. We've got several of her base rookies to go with those. Johnny Walker, the purple, number to 149. We've also got 2 silver prisms of Johnny Walker. Got a Rob Font purple, Tisha Torres purple. Got Israel Adesanya purple. Jorge Masvidal blue. Those are numbered to 175. Got a Chidi Njokwani. Got the blue and the hyper. Sugar Sean O'Malley red. Those are numbered to 199. Jordan Levitt red. Jamal Hill, light heavyweight champion, in the red. Got Song Yadong in the red and the ruby red wave. Like I said, we got Yair Rosenstrike in the red and the ruby red wave, and now we've got the cracked ice. So 3 Yair Rosenstrikes, and we've got the Volkan Ozdemir. So those are all of our autos and our numbered cards from our previous boxes of Prizm. So now let's move on to this hobby box. Hey John, good to see you, man. Needs a red numbered of Cheyenne Blissmas. I'm trying, bud. Hey John, I thought about you today. I don't know if you've got all the 2015 Topps Chronicle of Claudia Gadelius, but I found those today. I found the base, and that she has like a matchup one as well. So I don't know if you don't have the 2015 Chronicles, let me know. All right, here we go. So we pull that back card first. That's always anticlimactic when you get to that last card. So we go ahead and pull that out. Movsar Evloev, all out. Gilbert Burns. Yeah, I'll send those to you, John. Gilbert Burns, Pierre Rodriguez, Matt Schnell, Kaikar France, Irene Aldana, Jennifer Maya, Michelle Pereira, Hamzat Chimaev, another Baby Shark rookie base, Yan Xiaonan red, and Manon Firo, a hyper. Actually, I had somebody buying some Manon Firo. We had pulled a few of those, and I had a lot of those, and then the person lives actually pretty close to me, so maybe we'll be able to get rid of that one too. That was an eBay sale, and it looks at the address, and kind of right down the street. And John said Kai got robbed. He did. But, you know, those judges and judging in the UFC is something else. I had a theory that maybe they do it on purpose. If you're not going to get a finish, then maybe they just use some of these judges in these fights to kind of make sure that everybody goes for a finish. You do not want to leave it to chance. So that back card, Aljamain Sterling, Fearless, Movsar Evloev, Andrea Lee, Jeremiah Wells, Dustin Poirier, Sean Woodson, Muhammad Mokaev, Justin Gaethje, Vicente Luque, Robert Whittaker, Zhang Lee Silver, and we've got our auto behind it. So put that one to the side, and we've got another legend. This is just full of them. Mark Kerr, Legendary Signatures. Man, we got to go back and count those. That's like 5 or 6. Oh, I did get rid of the big pull from last week. I didn't even get to show you all that. You have to go back and look at it. The biggest pull came in last week's. We got the Hasbullah Magomedov orange. And so we're able to move that. That's true, John, but he'll be back. That division, it seems like you always get a chance. You can have 4 title fights between the same 2 guys. There's always a chance in that division. So we got another Chuck Liddell Hall monitors. Got a Daniel Rodriguez, Jordan Levitt, Saad Jakub Kakramanov. Too bad it's not a red. Cheyenne Vlismas base, Aljamain Sterling, Charles Oliveira, Ketlin Vieira, Jailton Almeida, Darren Till, and Sergey Pavlovich orange. Might be looking at your next heavyweight champion there. And the last card, the Bilal Muhammad Hyper Prizm. All right, we got one auto down. Looking for the other. Still trying to beat our Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm as far as low numbers go. Habib Nurmagomedov all out. Anthony Smith, Yuri Prochazka, another Aaron Blanchfield, Pat Sabatini, Jack Hermanson, Carlos Ulberg, Arnold Allen, Jessica Andrade, Ian Gary, and Brock Lesnar Mojo. So that's numbered to 25. That's 12 of 25. So that's not bad. I believe that's our first Mojo. Haven't pulled a gold. Agree with that, John. PC Aaron, yeah, I want to find something of Aaron too that I can afford. But you know, if you get those top rookies, you know, even the base cards can pull a little bit. I've got a few Hasbullas, a lot of Aaron, a lot of Tabitha Ricci, and a lot of Bo Nickel. Well, I don't have as many Bo Nickel. I think I have two, and also the Fearless. Alex Pereira, got a few of those. Waiting to pull something bigger. Oh, so that back card, we're going to save that one. That back card is a big one. So that kind of threw me off there. So Ignacio Bahamondes, Chris Gutierrez, Melsik Bagdasarian, Takar Klose. So those are the only two rookies I didn't have yet, and they're there in the same pack, and I found that to be the case. They kind of come in pairs, because the two Jack Della Maddalenas and Bo Nichols that I have, those were in the same pack too. I think they hide them that way. So Jorge Masvidal, Glover Teixeira, Pedro Munoz. Yeah, same with it. Same with that Hasbulla Orange, John. I got a little bit more for that. Francis Ngannou, Joe Pyfer, Alice Gobkaz-Reeves Silver. We got three in this pack. We've got three parallels. There's the big one. It's a monster card hiding there in the lurch. Stay tuned. I'm building up the suspense for you. So here we go. It's a big one. Chris Gutierrez, Ruby Red Wave, and then we have Charles Oliveira Dominance Gold. Numbered 10 of 10, so bookend. Charles Oliveira Dominance Gold. So our lowest numbered card so far is the Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm, but I'm going to guess that Charles Oliveira Gold is just a little bit better. Let's get this Chris Gutierrez. The rookies in this product, even though some of them don't have as big of names, they sell pretty well. So if you can string together a couple of them, they tend to do pretty well. And pause here just to get a little sip here. If y'all see John in the chat, just want to let y'all know. Met John through the UFC Sports Cards group on Facebook. If you don't belong to that, you need to. That place is the place to be. As far as breaks go, Kevin Fernandez is the best, for sure. If you want to get in a break, I know that when I get back into breaks again, that's where I'll be going. So check that out and join that group if you haven't already. Brian Battle, rookie Alexander Rakic, Vivian Araujo, Colby Covington, Patty Pimblett, Robert Whitaker, Charles Oliveira, Ketlin Vieira, Jailton Almeida, and we got a Vicente Luque blue, 175. Aiden Levy, Ruby Red Wave rookie. I didn't pull that back one out after that Charles Oliveira gold. So there's that last one, Dan Henderson. Still got one auto left out there in this box. Let's go to the back. Amanda Nunes dominance. Habib Nurmagomedov, TJ Dillashaw, Sean Strickland, Mike Malott, Amanda Lemos, Jake Matthews. We pulled an auto of Jake Matthews. That's already gone. Ilya Topuria, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. And that's another one that's been back-to-back. McGregor and Chandler have been back-to-back, and that's the third pack that I've pulled with those two back-to-back. Colby Covington, silver. And we got a little bit of a Sergey Pavlovich rainbow working tonight in this box. The Sergey Pavlovich Blue Wave. So we got 5 packs left. Just a reminder, next week we will have double live rip with another box of Prizm and our first box of Don Russ this year. There's just more in the Don Russ boxes. That's why they only give you 10 in a case. You pretty much get a whole set out of a hobby box. A whole base set. We got Leon Edwards dominance, Jalen Turner, Sergey Pavlovich, Benil Dariush, Macy Chiasson, Bilal Muhammad, Luana Pinheiro, Jeff Neal, Amanda Lemos, Jake Matthews, another Patty Pimblett silver. I've already got one of those. And we got a Chidi Njokwani blue wave. So we've got a couple of Njokwanis. Got a blue and I think got a hyper. Well, if you have to skip Don Russ, John, then I'll look out for you. See what I can get for you out of those. Something to fill the time for me. We've got to open a hobby box every week. Like I said, we'll go back through all the hits when we get done. There's that back card. Another Juliana Pena all out. Tony Ferguson, Rafael Fiziev, Chris Barnett, João Barallo, Alex Perez, Ilya Topuria, Conor McGregor. There it is. Fourth pack. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, Jennifer Maya, and we got a purple Tai Tuivasa. Now we've got 3 in this pack. Another 3 parallel pack. So Tuivasa, got the blue Cyril Gahn, number to 175. I've not opened any undercard boxes. John spent all my money on the case of hobby. So just I would have loved to. Just wasn't in the budget this year. We got to spend that money on getting our new software. So we're going to switch over how we run the show. So going to a new software program so we can get some guests on. And with you being on the chat, we may just have to get you on the show. Just be a co-host here soon. So Brandon Royval with the Ruby Red Wave. So down to 3 packs. Still got one auto out there. We hope, unless we get gypped. I think it's in the back of this one, though. Chuck Liddell, Fearless. Yair Rodriguez. Corey Sandhagen. Michael Morales. Kyler Phillips. Stipe Miocic. Penny Kanzad. Cody Durden. Johnny Walker. Michelle Pereira, Sean O'Malley silver. Our auto's behind that. It's actually a redemption. So let's get this O'Malley done, and then we'll see what is on this redemption card. Sean O'Malley was in our hobby top 5 at one time. He got knocked out when this new product came out. So, Sean O'Malley, silver, and here is our other auto in this box. Is a redemption card. And it is a Throwback Signatures, Israel Adesanya. So that is the first Adesanya auto that I've ever pulled. So nice. So nice Izzy coming our way. Get that Style Bender auto. That's the way he signs those. This looks to be the base, but we'll take it. Can't get much bigger than that. So there we go. Be sending that off. So 2 packs left. Let's see if we can beat the Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm or the Charles Oliveira Dominance Gold 10 of 10 that we pulled. Probably not. Rose Namajunas, Tai Tuivasa, David Dvorak, Mark Madsen, Sean Brady, Michelle Watterson, Hamzat Chimaev, another Tabitha Ricci, Sean Woodson, Muhammad Mokayev, and Saeed Yakub Kakramanov, red, and Umar Nurmagomedov, hyper. Looks like a little printer line on that one. That's another rookie color. Had a few of those, not going to complain. Seems like we get legends or we get rookies. You see, I don't know if you can see it. The little printer line right kind of where his nose is. Well, I've been pretty pleased with Prizm's quality control this year, though. Hasn't been bad. I mean, I've seen a few printer lines here and there, but nothing mangled just yet. And here we go, last pack. Let's see. Well, save that one too. Looking at another 3 parallel pack here. Had 3 of those. One was a monster. Max Holloway, Karine Silva, Israel Adesanya, Nasruddin Imavov, Anthony Hernandez, Tom Aspinall, wish that was something color, Dracus Duplessis, Bryce Mitchell, Alex Pereira, got a Habib Silver, it's probably the biggest card I'm holding on to right now. I've got a Habib from 21 Chronicles, the triple memorabilia autograph. So may show that off next week. Melsek Bagdasarian, another little printer line over there on the left. It's a thicker one. Tend to see thicker printer lines on the Ruby Red Wave. Yeah, actually, John, I just bought one today. I found a good deal on eBay. Found the cracked ice. And our last card of the night. So George St. Pierre, Silver Dominance. So there we go. That's our stack. Stack up all that base too. So here we go. A little recap. This is from, so the beginning of this is from the retail. And so I'm not going to complain too much pulling the Aaron Blanchfield out of a retail box. Then we got, yeah, you saw that one. That big print line, yep. Calvin Cater, cracked ice. Marab Davalishvili, silver. Yair Rosenstrike, cracked ice. Davison Figueiredo, green. Chris Curtis, cracked ice. Jan Blachowicz, green. And while I've got Jan Blachowicz, and I'll get back to the card giveaways, we're giving away 7 fighter lots, and I haven't talked about it too much because I've talked about it a lot and even showed the cards off. But we're going to be giving away 7 fighter lots. We got to grow the show first. We need to get to a certain number of subscribers, but we're going to give away John Jones. That lot is over 20 cards now, and each one of these contains a numbered card. So we've got John Jones, got Jan Blachowicz, Robert Whitaker, Justin Gaethje, Glover Teixeira, those 5 on the men's side. We've got 2 female fighters, Holly Holm and Misha Tate. And the Misha Tate lot actually contains 2 numbered cards. So looking forward to giving those away. So tell everybody you know to join up, and let's give those away. So may add some of these to it. Who knows? But anyway, Jan Blachowicz green, Yan Xiaonan red. It was a 199, right? Yep, 199. Manon Fiorot hyper. Here's one of our autos. Another legendary signature, probably our 5th one or so. Got Tank Abbott, Matt Hughes, Matt Brown. Got a BJ Penn redemption on the way, I hope. So there's Mark Kerr. We've got a Zhang Li silver. There's our Sergey Pavlovich orange. So that's numbered to 99. Bilal Muhammad hyper. Another big one here that we had tonight. First mojo out of this hobby box. Brock Lesnar mojo. That's numbered 12 of 25. Luana Pinheiro, hyper rookie. Another Aaron Blanchfield base. Got a lot of Tabitha Ricci, a lot of Aaron Blanchfield. Aliskov Kazriv, silver. There was our big one of the night. The Charles Oliveira gold dominance bookend 10 of 10. Chris Gutierrez, ruby red wave. Vicente Luque blue. Nathan Levy, ruby red wave. Colby Covington silver. Sergey Pavlovich blue wave. So we got 2 color Sergey Pavlovich in here. Patty Pimblett silver. Chidi Njokuani blue wave. Tai Tuivasa purple. Cyril Gahn blue. Brandon Royval ruby red wave. Sean O'Malley silver. Here was our redemption, our big redemption that we hit with Israel Adesanya, throwback signatures. So I believe that was just a base though. Doesn't matter, we'll take it. Saeed Yakub Kakramanov, red. Umar Nurmagomedov, the hyper. Habib Nurmagomedov, silver. And they're making a big run of these, making me say all these in a row. Melsik Bagdasarian, ruby red wave, but in that big print line, I see that on the, you can see that pretty well over there on the left side. Must be a throw in for something. And there's the last card that we pulled, the last insert, or the last parallel, the GSP Silver Dominance. So that is our 6th box of Panini Prizm. And once again, I just want to thank everybody for coming on, especially John, keeping me entertained in the chat tonight. Always welcome. Gives me more content to talk about. Know that somebody's out there watching and following along, and we'll just keep growing it. And like I said, we're going to be changing over software hopefully soon, and have the ability to have some guests call in, have some more people on the show, and really get some traction that way. Looking forward to that. And I think I can get some pretty good people on here involved in the hobby, maybe even the sport, maybe a fighter or two here and there. That would be awesome. You have to work those contacts to see if I can make that happen, but that would definitely put us on the right track, and that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping to get down that road, but that first step is going to be changing over to the software, getting used to that, getting somebody to help me make sure that I've got all that set up correctly. This was an easy setup for me, and so that's why I've kind of gone with it, and that's been kind of basic for now, and it can only get better from here. And once we change over, I think it'll really help things out and take it to the next level and be something that everybody's really happy with. But looking forward to it. John, I'd love to have you on guest spot, be on here to co-host and see what all we hit. I don't know if I'll be able to do 3 cameras, but we'll see how that works. So again, we do this every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central here on YouTube, and then I immediately upload the audio to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere that you get your podcasts. If you're listening and you heard anything that you're interested in, if you want that gold Charles Oliveira, you can reach me at russ@orange-fire.com. You can find me on Twitter at FightCardsRuss or at Orange Media. You can also find me on Facebook, Russ Renault, RENEAU, or Orange Fire Media. So next week, big show. We're going to have our Don Russ in hand, I hope. And so we're going to open up our 7th box of Prizm, and we're going to open up our first box of Don Russ. So really looking forward to that, doing a really long show. We've gone over an hour tonight, and I usually try to keep it around that hour mark. And so probably going to be an hour and a half next week just with those 2 products. So we'll be talking about, let's see what we got. We got UFC 289 next week, so kind of a big fight recap. Just a big weekend next week. So my anniversary is this week. We're out of town. I'm going to be trying to watch fights in between all that. So it's going to be a fun weekend, and we're looking forward to Don Russ and Prizm next week. But John, appreciate you hanging in there with me, man, and we'll see you again next week. And everybody else, just continue to get the word out, and we really thank you for supporting us here, and I appreciate it. And I will see you again next week, and I hope you all have a great rest of the week, and we will see you again next Sunday right here live on the UFC Fight Cards podcast. I'm Russ Renault. Everybody have a good week, and we'll see you next time.